This is the plaintiff, Dolores Warner. She says her careless neighbor started a fire, and the burning debris from his apartment rained down onto her car, damaging it something awful. The defendant told her he would pay for the damages and obviously hasn't, so she's dragging him to court today and suing him for every penny of the $3,409.42 it's going to cost her to fix the car. This is the defendant, Rich Mitlisky. He says he responded immediately to the plaintiff's concerns and removed some shattered glass off the car. There were no damages to the car. Now, 2 years later, the woman's trying to get her car painted by him for free? Ha! He's accused of raking a tenant over the coals.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says her neighbor started a fire and the burning debris damaged her car. But the defendant says he took some glass off the car, but there was no damage, and she surfaces 2 years later. It's the case of my neighbor's fire.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right, Dolores Warner, you are suing Chapin Place investors, Mr. Mitlisky.
Yes.
Are you the owner?
Yes.
Okay.
Owners with my
Co-owner?
parents.
Okay.
Co-owners, yeah.
For $3,409.42, an estimate for a car repair that you say is his fault. What happened?
Your Honor, I don't know who this gentleman is, but I rent an apartment in Hartford from Mr. Mitlisky in 2015. And in 2017, there was a fire in a unit, 3 units down on my floor. We park under the carport that's under the building, and most of the vehicle is seen, but the front nose is kind of under the building. And there was a fire, and the fire department broke out the windows. It's a big picture window and 2 sliding windows that are double pane windows.
Okay.
I had warned Mr.
Was there a neighbor in there? I mean, there was a human in there who was renting that
No, there was someone renting the apartment at the time, but they were not home.
Well, what happened? Does anybody know how the fire started?
He left something on the stove.
Oh, jeez.
The issue is that this particular tenant had started a fire 2 other times. And I had informed Mr. Mitlisky.
Did you say you don't know who he is?
No, I don't.
Okay, who is there?
My parents own the building.
Okay, so she's referring to your father probably
my
when
father,
she says
yeah.
that?
Correct.
Yeah.
I had rented the apartment at 15 from his mother, I guess, if that's who
Okay,
he's
when you
saying
say you informed them that what?
that this tenant had started 2 other fires.
Did that tenant start 2 other fires?
Not that I know of.
Okay, do you have any proof that tenant started 2 other?
The building manager.
No, I'm asking you because you've got to prove the things you're saying.
No, I don't have
Do you have
proof.
any proof that you notified them that he had started 2 fires?
I have proof that I've spoken to him on speakerphone, and my witness has heard him, and Mr. Mitlisky had a phone call with me on speakerphone, and my witness was present.
Come on up. Who's the witness you want to hear? Do you want me to hear from? Okay, what do you know about this case?
I was there the day the fire happened. Me and her goddaughter were at the apartment. We were woken up by the fire department. As we got outside, where they put us, you could see the firemen smashing the glass and everything out of the window, and everything just falling onto her car.
Onto her car. Now, you have pictures of that, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and now let's talk about the speakerphone that she says you were privy to. Tell me everything that was discussed.
It was mainly about the damages for the car and the estimate. He felt that she was unreasonable with that estimate. He offered her $400.
He who?
Mr. Mitlisky.
The father.
The father, yes. Okay. He offered her $400. She said that was unreasonable. He laughed at her on the phone. He kept telling her that that there's no way that it could cost that much money and that there was that much damage done to the vehicle. We spoke to him.
What is this that I'm looking at in that picture, that white stuff?
That's plaster.
But plaster from where?
From the fire.
Coming out of the window. Because the fire department was shooting water through the window on the outside, and everything was just coming out that window. See how thick the glass is? The glass is actually embedded into my car, and that's after rinsing it off with a hose.
Let me hear from you. Were you there the day this fire happened?
No, I was not there. My dad was there. And I know she approached my dad, and my dad went out and saw the car. He saw the shard glass on the car. He asked the building manager to go out and wash the car, and he washed everything off the car, the glass, the whatever was on the car, and the building manager came back to us and said there was nothing on the car. And, Your Honor, I have pictures of the car I took about a month ago, and I don't, I have these pictures here that show the car and show.
Where did you go to take pictures of the, are you still living there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, that's
I
easy.
took pictures of the car that was there. And I don't, we never ran away from the responsibility of repairing the car. We just didn't see anything else, anything to fix on the car. There's just nothing, there was no damage to the car. And, like I said,
Why does your car look so good here?
Your Honor, here's the pictures of my car.
Because his pictures don't show any damage, I guess, from a distance, it's from a distance of 2 feet. Okay.
There's holes in the wind.
Yeah, no, I can see what you're saying.
In the windshield, and these pictures right here show.
Here's the thing that I need to understand, though. Tell me what that side did wrong.
When Mr. Mitlinski approached me the day of the accident, I had serious medical issues, and I told him that I would go through, let's do this through the insurances. He refused and said that he would quote my car in the insurance. And
Wait, that's not refusing, that's actually doing what you asked.
Yeah, I said, right. But
So why'd you say he refused?
Because he wanted to take care of it under his insurance. He
As
didn't
opposed to what?
Opposed to me going through my car insurance and his building insurance. I wanted them to handle it.
The building insurance is the liability policy for accidental damage like this. It's a state
That's what he
policy.
promised to do.
Okay, so there are only 2 choices. You go to your car insurance. Did you have the kind of insurance that would cover that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And you have not taken it to your insurance?
No.
All right. Whatever happened with the tenant?
The tenant actually ended up costing us money. He ended up being a nuisance, and we ended up paying.
He caused a fire.
Yeah, and we ended up paying for him to live. The town came after us. We ended up paying for 2-3 months wherever he lived and whatever, what have you. But just a side note, we never put anything under insurance with this, even with the apartment claim. None of it. We paid everything out of pocket.
But you paid everything out of pocket because what happened? They deny the claim?
No, they didn't deny the claim. We just thought, that it wasn't a big enough. We didn't want, obviously, when you go through insurance, it becomes costly afterwards. So we said we were going to pay it in-house. And when my father promised to pay her, he did. He said, Dolores, I will take care of it, whatever there was. But if I would have bought an auto body person to look at the car and ask them, he would look at me, what do you want me to paint? I don't know. I have not seen, I've looked at the car myself. I've had people look at the car. I don't even know what to paint on the car because I don't see any damages on the car.
Okay, I'm going to show you some
take care of
chips
it.
and stuff there that,
Your Honor, can I say something?
Yeah.
I tried calling Mrs. Mitlinski
Yeah.
because she's the one that rented me the apartment. I called from hospital bed, and when I had the conversation with Mr. Mitlinski, I asked him,
Really close up, they're like.
didn't your wife give you all the phone calls and all the messages? He said, yeah, and he outright said to me that he ignored my calls. And I said,
I'm sorry that you're sick. I'm sorry he was rude. I'm sorry that your neighbor is a careless idiot. I'm trying to figure out how that creates a legal liability on the owners of the building. I know that there's no question. You've been able to prove that he promised to pay it. He admits that my father said he'd pay it. But when you guys can't come up with an agreed upon figure, and now you're in court, we're all back to square one. There's no quid pro quo, okay? A contract is each side gives up something and agrees to a course of conduct because each side's gonna give it. Me promising to pay him $5,000 and then I don't pay him the $5,000. He can't take me to court because I promised. A promise isn't a contract. So what I'm left with is actually figuring out, okay, is there legal liability? What did they do wrong? They didn't cause the fire. It's the independent negligence of a third party. That's who you can sue. Good luck with that. But What did they do wrong that would cause just because they own the property, that doesn't mean they have to pay you. What did they do wrong that would cause them to owe you $3,000 and something dollars? Just the promise?
I just believe that had I known, we should have went through insurances. But he had reassured me.
Well,
But
and
he said to me on the phone that the reason
how
why
long
he
ago did this happen? August of 2017?
Around there somewhere.
Yeah, he said to me on the phone that the reason why he didn't want to pay me is because he didn't go through his insurance because they had a fire prior.
Who's your insurance carrier?
That a woman died in the fire.
Hold on, stop talking. Who's your insurance carrier?
Now is State Farm.
No, back then.
It was USAA. I would have handled it.
Yeah, well, you can handle it now.
But I don't have them now.
It doesn't matter that you don't have them now. It matters that you had them then. It might matter if you are unable to make a claim because too much time has passed. Then that's what we call in the law detrimental reliance upon a promise. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. I'm going to have my staff sit with you in an office with a phone, and we're going to talk to USAA, and we're going to find out from your policy whether there is any such limitation. Court is in recess.
Okay.
All rise. So if the tenant starts the fire that damages the neighbor's property, is the tenant's landlord responsible to the neighbor?
Yes.
Why?
The owner's insurance policy should cover it.
Yeah, but if the insurance policy doesn't cover it if the landlord's not responsible, is the landlord responsible for what the tenant does?
Yes.
I'll take that as an I don't know. What do you say?
Yes,
Why?
because it's usually part of the lease, and
Yeah, but the neighbor's not part of the lease, right? Can the neighbor sue the landlord for the tenant starting the fire?
no.
Renter's insurance.
Renter's insurance.
I'm not getting my answer down here going inside the courtroom.
How'd it go?
Yes, I am.
You are able to still
Yes, I
make a
am,
claim.
with a $500 deductible.
Right.
My question is when all this was set, why send me out for an estimate and all that other stuff? When the estimate came at that amount, that's when all the problems started.
I know. I hear what you're saying. But you have to understand, and I'm sorry that this happened to you. You're completely blameless. But you know who else is also blameless? Them. I cannot hold them liable because they didn't cause the fire. Nothing about their negligence. They didn't have a negligence that caused the fire. The closest thing you came to this, you can't prove at all. That, there was a tenant there, and that tenant there has caused problems before, and I told them that, the tenant had, caused problems, and you have zero proof that you had told them that. I don't even know why they would keep somebody who'd caused 2 fires. So based on the circumstances that are in front of me, I am ruling in favor of the defense.
So the plaintiff fails to prove her case. Ms. Warner, if you'll step over here, you heard what the judge decided. At least you're going to be able to file for insurance. How about that?
Hey, something's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, at least you're not totally out. But they weren't responsible for the fire. So.
Yeah, well, in this day and age, you try to take people for their word. You think people are good people, but I guess not everybody is.
Well, they just can't believe that the car needs as much work as you say it does. That's the other thing.
I don't do the estimates. I just bring the paper.
Well, you failed on both counts, so I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Have a good day.
All righty. Good luck to you. Mr. Medlitsky, if you'll step out here. I bet you're glad that other guy's gone, right?
Absolutely.
He's been a pain to you.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
he's just was an unsafe tenant, and we're just glad he's away. But like I said, we never walked away from the responsibility. If there was anything that happened that needed to be done to our car, we would have done it. We just didn't see it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You must sign some documents. Harvey?
Doug, if the landlord was on notice that the tenant had previously started fires and still let him come in, maybe then the landlord would be responsible. But the landlord's not responsible if he has no idea and the tenant just screws up.